ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series on ABC. Brought to you by Nationwide Insurance, official auto insurance partner of NASCAR. And Scott's Turf Builder. All food, no filler. That's Scott's advantage.
An opportunity and hard work. Let's get serious the next couple hours. Let's make our own luck. We turn this thing around. We're in a hole. We're going to start digging today. Dig on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dig!
Brad Keselowski's team getting ready to go here at Bristol. Talked with the driver earlier. They've had a tough start to the season. They start 15th here today. Second day of spring, a little chilly here in the hills of East Tennessee, but the sun has been in and out all day. No precipitation in the forecast. Good conditions for racing here in Thunder Valley. Now, very high above the start-finish line, you'll find 3 very well-dressed gentlemen, just as anxious as the drivers are for this race to start. Let's go up to Dr. Jerry Punch, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie. Doc, all yours.
Thank you very much, Alan. Hello, everyone. Glad to have you with us. Folks, for those of you who have never been here to Bristol now, picture a 3-story high concrete barrel. And then when the race begins, this barrel becomes a giant blender. You pour in 43 cars, you turn it on high, and the one that gets chewed up the least is usually the winner. So the question is, Dale, how do you survive 300 laps here at Bristol?
Well, one way is by staying cool, calm, and collected, and that's not anything to do with the deodorant these guys may be wearing. It's got to do with keeping your head on your shoulders and staying cool. You know coming here there's going to be a lot of contact. You're going to get run into. You're going to run into people. But if you let that affect you mentally, then it's probably going to affect the way you drive the race car, and it's going to hinder your chances to have a good day.
Andy, nothing is easy here. Even a simple pass or a pit stop can pose a huge challenge for a team. What are the keys?
Well, the thing about this track is it's so short and we have so much contact, we're going to have a lot of caution flags, and that's just going to really make it tough on the crew chiefs to decide when they make their pit stops, when they leave their cars out. This has always given me an ulcer as a crew chief because you never can really hit that right. It seems like you always miss it by just a little bit, and things happen so fast. You have to make that decision so quickly once that caution does come out that sometimes your car's in the pit stall before you can make that decision.
Guys, if you had to offer a team one word of advice, a single word, what would that be?
Patience.
Well, he took my word, so I'm going to say survival. That's what it's going to take. If you're going to do good here, you have to survive and get to the end of the race.
It's all about contact here. The first short track race of the year, these drivers know that when they wave the green flag, they're going to be bouncing off each other in this very large Bristol blender. Drivers are cinched up and getting set for 300 laps here on the high banks in eastern Tennessee. So why don't we go trackside and hear the words all the race fans want to hear as we get set to fire them up.
Race fans, to give the command to start today's Scott's Turf Builder 300, the most famous words in auto racing. Here's Jeff Kaiser, Vice President of Marketing, the Lawns Division with Scott's. Jeff?
Gentlemen, start your engines!
3's in front of us, and 01's behind us. We're on the backstretch, fifth pit back on the backstretch.
Engines have fired, and we are set to roll here momentarily in Bristol, Tennessee. You know, in March, there's always some Cinderella stories on the hardwood. But here, one today, there's a Cinderella story on the high banks. And there he is, a rookie driver out of Las Vegas, Nevada, 33-year-old Brendan Gaughan on the pole, driving for Rusty Wallace Incorporated. He will lead him down. As you take a look at our starting grid, he'll be flanked by Carl Edwards. Great qualifying effort by Jason Keller, and we mentioned best qualifying effort ever for Kenny Hendrick, starting back in 10th position. Folks, this is one of the most unique racetracks on the circuit. It is the only track left that has a split pit road. And Andy, there are some very good and some very bad places to pit here at Bristol.
Yeah, Doc, there's really only 4 good pit stalls at Bristol, and they are on the corners of the pit roads. We have those 2 pit roads. This is Brendan Gaughan's pit. He's got the #1 pit stall. The reason this is a good pit stall is once he's finished, he can just drive straight out on the racetrack, not worry about traffic and going around somebody that's making a pit stop. Now, Carl Edwards has the same pit stall on the backstretch. He has the same advantage. You can get in there and get out of his pit unobstructed. And then if you move around over here on the front stretch, you'll see the other good pit stalls are at the beginning of these pit roads. This is Jason Keller's pit stall. This is a good pit stall because he can drive right straight into his pit without having to go around the car and get crooked in his pit stall. And then Kyle Busch, he has the same pit stall on the backstretch, the first pit stall as you come down pit road, and he'll have a really good chance of making a good pit stop and getting out, even though he is at the 43rd spot. And this guy here is an official. He's got the best look of all this action on pit road. He's going to wear our official cam, a high definition crew cam he's going to have on his helmet, and we'll see some action out of this guy today, I'll guarantee you.
Craig Hippie Anderson down there dodging race cars as they come off of pit road. One of the guys that will give us a great look today is this guy here, Concrete Carl. Carl Edwards, the 2007 champion, our in-race reporter. Let's visit with Carl.
Carl, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You have a copy?
I got you, Dale.
Hey, Carl, in practice yesterday, was there one particular place on this racetrack that you said, I have to get my car good here to have a chance at winning?
That's a good question, man. You know, the one thing I looked for in practice yesterday was for people to start running the second groove, and I didn't really see it. So, you know, we worked on the bottom of the racetrack with the Scott's Fusion, and, you know, the temperature being low like it is, you know, the clouds rolling in, I think that's going to be where we have to race on the bottom.
All right, Carl, our second question comes from our ESPN mailbag, and Andrea in Troy, North Carolina would like to know, what is a bigger concern for you at Bristol, the other drivers or the strain of the track itself?
Boy, that's a good question. Sometimes it's the other drivers, sometimes it's the track, and sometimes it's me, you know. You got to be careful not to make mistakes. And so it's a really tough track. I mean, you know how it is, Dale. It's you know, it's mentally grueling as well as physically. You know, I was just talking to Jason Keller. We just want to be there at the end, racing for the win.
All right, Carl, thanks for talking with us and have a great day.
Cool, thanks, Dale. Have a good broadcast.
We'll look forward to riding along with Carl today. We will also have onboard cameras in 6 other cars in today's field. Kyle Busch starting back in 4th position. How about Brad Keselowski? You heard in our countdown show, he came from 37th last August. He will start 15th today in his GoDaddy.com Chevrolet. Well, this track can pose lots of problems in the pits. Now, to explain first, here's Shannon Spain.
Doc, one thing you can always count on here at Bristol Motor Speedway is that it's going to be very loud. And that means sometimes communication can become impaired. Now, it's very important for teams to be able to communicate, especially when it comes to making changes on pit road. You can see Scott Cipodelli here for the 38 team. What he can do is he can lean down. He can do hand signals and tell his crew guys how many tires. He also says, talks with an IM from computer to computer to teammates on the other side of the track. And sometimes they'll even use dry erase boards. This is when they need to make some more changes like track bar, wedge. Verbal communication can sometimes never be trusted here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
I see what you're saying, Shannon. Hey, one of the problems you can have here at Bristol is pit road speed. It is as slow as they come in the Nationwide Series, 30 miles per hour. Imagine yourself on the interstate having to roll your passenger count down to 30 to get in your neighborhood. And it's not just getting the car slowed down, it's maintaining that speed. That'll be tough for these guys to do here today. They'll have to do it all day long, and there will be no warning from NASCAR. If they speed, there will be a ticket. Vince?
Well, Dave Cruz will tell you this is one of the toughest, most dangerous pit lanes in all of racing. In fact, one crew member said this is a good place to get run over. And the pit boxes are just 28 feet long. When the car's at 17 foot long, one crew chief said it'd be tough enough to drop the car into the box, much less drive it in there. It's going to be a tough day on pit lane, and Mike Massaro, no room for error at Bristol.
That's right, Vince. And if those variables weren't enough, these over-the-wall crew, they face another challenge, and that's rust. They've been off for 2 weeks. Now, certainly, they practice on a day-to-day basis, but nothing can substitute real live race activity. We'll be paying very close attention to rhythm and timing as they come down pit road for the first time, Doc. That could pose a problem.
Indeed it could, guys. Thanks for the updates. Now, this is a 300-lap race. And we told you the pit road speed very, very slow at 30 miles an hour. And Andy, the fuel, the pit window may not happen.
Yeah, there's our pit window for fuel, but we won't see that today, folks, because there's just too much action at this track. You'll see a lot of caution flags. Most of the stops will be under caution.